Good morning, everyone. Welcome to First Church of Religious Science, broadcasting here from New York City. I want to give a special welcome to everybody here on the Zoom call. It's nice to see everyone here. Special welcome to our studio audience, and a welcome to everyone joining us on all the social media platforms, be it X, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify. I can't name them all, but I believe we're represented everywhere. I'd like to remind everyone that you can watch these broadcasts on both Facebook and YouTube. On Wednesday evenings, Jimmy James, our practitioner, hosts our Creative Living class. It's a part of our Creative Living series at 7 p.m. The same Zoom links as these. And in that gathering, we explore practical tools for creating a life filled with joy, abundance, and meaning. Thursday evenings is my thing. I've been facilitating Louise Hay groups, self-healing groups, most of my life since the book came out. I think it was the following year and a half. All of our sessions, Thursday, Wednesday, and Sunday morning, where we are right now, there are opportunities for us to remember who we are and to practice the principles that we learn here. Everything we do here at First Church, every webinar we create is offered to everyone for free, no charge. For those, first of all, who are inspired to support our work, there's always options in the chat room for you to do so. Also on the social platforms, there's all kinds of options if people want to contribute or support our work. So thank you for anything you do. Again, if you came in late or tuned in a moment after we started, we're talking about connection and the power of connection. I'm one with the one, I'm one with the power. See, there's a surprising truth about connection as you understand this word, and it's a simple truth. As Louise Hay once said, she said it's profoundly simple. It's all very simple. This connection is not something we have to go out and find. It's something that we already are. Spirit has woven connection into every part of existence. Spirit has woven connection into the cells of our body, the rhythm of our breath, and the energy that animates all life everywhere. But here's the paradox. I can intellectually say and know that I'm one with the one, I'm connected with all life. But here's the paradox. Even though connection is ever present, it's very obvious, we often feel separate. We feel separate from other people. We feel separate from people we care about. We feel separate from Spirit at times. We even feel separate from ourselves, from what we'll call our best selves. And why is that? We feel separate because we've forgotten. It's kind of like the story of the prodigal child, born into the realm, offspring of the king or the queen, having everything but forgetting all that it has. And this is what we do. We do this also. So today, let's remember connection. We're talking about spiritual connection begins with recognizing, that's the first step of affirmative prayer, recognizing that we're one with this, recognizing the invisible thread that binds all of life. This isn't just a metaphor, it's the essence of spiritual truth, that recognition step of affirmative prayer. I recognize and I know that there is one power, and that power is within me, operating through me. So let's understand this connection that we're talking about today begins with us recognizing that we have it, that it's in us. It's in us, operating through us. It binds us to all life. Again, not a metaphor, spiritual truth. Ernest Holmes, our founder, beautifully expressed it this way. He said, we're one with the infinite. This truth is not something to be proven. It is something to be realized. So it's a spiritual realization. The affirmations and things that we do in the practices will bring us eventually to a place of realization where you know that you know. So let's think of connection as the air that we breathe. It's unseen, but it definitely sustains us. Let's think about connection again that way. like the air that we breathe. It's unseen, but it sustains us. It's shared by everybody, and it never runs out. Whether we're standing in a crowded subway or we're quietly sitting at home or watching a sunrise, we get up and watch a sunrise, we're always in the presence of this infinite energy. I'll give you a little analogy that might help you see this. Connection can be thought of like the ocean. It's vast, it's powerful, and it's always in motion. Each of us is like a wave, unique and individual, but still always we're part of that same sea. No wave is ever separate. No drop of water stands alone. The ocean moves as one. When we embrace this idea, when we really start to have a deeper understanding of this, we can then let go of the illusion of separation, being separate, and we can remember the truth always of unity. I have a short poem called The Threads of Connection that captures the truth in a way words perhaps can't. Here it is. By an unknown hand, the web is spun, threads of light, of love, of one. In every breath, in every sigh, the infinite whispers, you and I. Yes, you and I. No search required, no journey far, for what you seek is what you are. For what you seek is what you are. Within your cells, the cosmos hums. In every heartbeat, spirit comes. Yet why the veil, why the divide, the sense of being cast aside? The mind forgets what the soul has known. We are not fragments, we are the whole. So pause and feel the sacred weave, a truth so simple, hard to believe. Connection is the song we sing, the pulse of life that's in everything. When we begin to live from this understanding, connection transforms from an idea into a living experience. So, again, when we begin to live from this understanding, connection transforms from an idea into a living experience, a force that will guide us, heal us, and remind us of the beauty of being one with all that there is. So let's explore this a little bit more. Raymond Charles Barker, our founder, used to suggest that science will always support spiritual truth, which was an interesting thing for him to say all those years ago. And he would ask a question. Did you know that every atom in your body was once part of a star? The very elements that make you up are carbon, oxygen, nitrogen. And they were all born in the heart of a supernova billions and billions of years ago. We are, back from our Woodstock days, we are stardust. We are actually made of stardust. We feel disconnected because we've built walls. I've built walls, we've all built walls, one kind of or another. They could be thought of as walls of fear, walls of judgment, or perhaps the wall is a wall of busyness. So I want to take a quick look at these barriers today. With the wall of fear, will whisper something like, you're not good enough. There's something wrong with you. There's something missing. It will also say that we're alone and that the world is unsafe and all things like that. The wall of fear, and that we must protect ourselves. The wall of fear will say we must protect ourselves at all costs. But here's the thing. Fear is an illusion. A Course in Miracles has a passage that I love, which is this. Nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal exists. Now, you can think about that a long time. I've shared it with you a couple times before. Nothing real, the things that are real of Spirit of God, nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal exists. When we let fear rule, we disconnect. Not because the connection is gone, but because we've chosen not to see the connection. When we've let fear rule, again, we disconnect. The connection's still there, but we're not experiencing it. We've chosen not to. Spirit hasn't gone anywhere. I want to say that again. Spirit's not gone anywhere. So remember that. It's like the sun on a cloudy day. It's always, always shining, even when hidden. So that's the way fear works. Let's look at the wall of judgment. How often do we look at someone and silently, in some way, judge them, categorize them? They don't look very good. They look like they're poor. They're scruffy. We might judge them positively. They look kind. They look wonderful. We think they're rude. We think many things. We categorize them as like us or unlike us, bad or good. It doesn't matter what we do. But how often do we look at someone and silently in our own minds do that, make some kind of judgment? The thing to know about judgment is whenever and however we're doing it, it creates separation. And it creates separation where none exists in truth. See, we're truth students, and we're ideally correcting these misconceptions as we go. That's our practice. We're practitioners. We're practicing the God, the good. We're practicing, namaste. We're here to see the good in everything, everyone, and all the time. So the wall of judgment can cause us some challenges. When we look at anyone and we judge them, when we're critical, when we categorize anyone in any way. That's why I like the three monkeys. Like, I hear no evil, I speak no evil, I see no evil. Because what we're training ourselves to do as we become more advanced metaphysicians, as we put the teaching to practice, is we really want to let that go. We want to let all of that go. So that's why I bring up the subject. Let's pay attention to our judgments, all of them. So what instead, if we saw each and every person as spirit expressing itself in its own unique way? That's really wonderful, because everyone is spirit. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Everybody is evoluting along. Everyone is in the perfect right place. There's no need for us to judge anyone. We know that we are evolving. We have evolved. We have come a long way individually. And we're gifted to know that everyone else is doing that also. Again, spirit is expressing itself in its own unique way through everyone. When we have that consciousness, suddenly all the walls that we have crumble. As we embrace this perspective, connection that we're talking about today becomes effortless, because you're not judging anyone. You're not taking anything personally, because everyone's doing the best they can with the understanding, the awareness that they have. So let's go to my third wall for today, the wall of busyness, because we live in a world that's rapidly moving, evolving. So many of us are very busy, and some of us wear this busyness almost like it's a badge of honor in today's very fast world. We have a tendency to fill every single moment. We're checking our phones, we're scrolling for everything, we're checking. We rush from one task to another. But how many sunsets have we missed due to our scrolling or our preoccupation with our screens, scrolling through our messages, emails, whatever it is? How much have we missed as we've done all that? How many moments of connection have we overlooked because we're always too busy to notice maybe some of the beautiful things or people around us? Or we're too worried about something inconsequential. So we're focused on small things when, there's beautiful things right around you that we have a tendency to not see. So let's take a moment to ask ourselves today, in this lesson on connection, where am I letting fear come into my life? Where am I letting judgment or my busyness to block my connection with self? Where am I letting fear, judgment, or busyness to block my connection with myself? Week after week, in many ways, I suggest taking a pause or a few pauses throughout the day, a pause that will refresh. So really what I'm asking you is to take time out so you can go within to that place. Deep in the center of your being is this thing. There's this something, this presence and power that's in us. So with this wall of busyness, I'm asking you, just ask yourself these questions right now. Where am I letting fear, judgment, or busyness block my connection? First of all, the connection with yourself. And then secondly, the connection with your loved ones and everyone else. And so what do we do with these situations, these blocks, these walls? Well, the first thing always is going to be awareness, becoming aware. You don't want to be in denial about it. You want to say, okay, I'm getting too busy. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm being a little bit too judgmental. We want to be gentle with ourselves. That's another thing we've learned here from Louise Hay. Never criticize yourself, but do become aware. Pay attention, right? Awareness then is the first step to tearing down these walls that work against our highest and best. We want to align with spirit. So alignment with spirit is not about changing the world outside of you. Alignment with spirit has more to do about shifting our perception. So we're going to make a shift in consciousness. Ernest Holmes said, we do not create this unity. It's always here, right? We don't create this unity, this unified world, this unified field that Deepak Chopra would say. We don't create it. What we do is we try to wake to it. So that was Holmes' pearl of wisdom. We don't create it. We wake to it. So that's where it's important to take these pauses, to do the things we do, affirmative prayer, affirmations, walks in nature, all the different things that we suggest. We give you many tools throughout, every given week, actually. We want to wake to it. I have a little metaphor for you. Think of spirit as the music of the universe. It's always playing. Spirit, the music of the universe, always playing. When we're tuned in, life feels harmonious. When we're not tuned in, there's a lot of that staticky noise. It can be kind of rough. You've heard static before. But here's the beauty. The music never stops playing. We've just forgotten how to listen to it. I've got a little story for you. There was a man who told me about a time when he felt utterly lost. His job was a mess, his relationships, everything seemed to just be falling apart. And one day he wandered into, of all places, a quiet chapel because he wasn't particularly religious. But he just needed a moment of stillness. He just tried the door and it was open. And he sat there. He didn't hear a booming voice of any kind, or he didn't see any kind of vision. But when he sat there after a while, he felt something. He felt an undeniable presence within him, and it was a presence of peace that came over him. And he thought it was as if spirit whispered to him inside of him, I'm here. I'm here. I've always been here. That a moment, by the way, did not erase his challenges, but it gave him something far greater. It gave him a sense of connection. And that's something every one of you can have today. You could be with the most important person in the world and listen to that voice within, which will tell you, I'm here. You'll know it's there. It will bring you a sense of connection. And then the courage to face life with new strength. That's what alignment can do for you. It grounds us in the truth of who we are. Connection isn't something we can think our way into. Really, it must be experienced. So you got to do something. Be still and know. Sit, breathe it in, work with affirmations. It isn't something you can just think your way into. You need to bring yourself to a place where you can sense it. Here's a simple practice for today. Before you go to sleep this evening, name just 3 moments of connection you had during the day. Could have been a kind word you heard from somebody at the church or one of your friends or one of your kids or grandchildren. Just remember 3 things, 3 moments of the day. The laughter, the beauty even of something you saw outdoors on a walk. Just challenge yourself to remember 3 things. These small moments remind us, as we do this, that Spirit is always, always, always with us. It's really good for you to remember, to do that little discipline. It could take you 2 or 3 minutes. And here's the second thing. Try extending as best you can a little more kindness. Now, I know some of you do a lot already, but here's the suggestion. Try extending just a little more kindness. There's a spiritual law that I want you to be aware of. When we give, we become conduits for Spirit. Again, when we give, at least our time, our talent, our treasure, it doesn't matter what it is. When we give, we become conduits for Spirit. Wayne Dyer often said, when you give, you receive. Again, when you give, you receive. Life loves a giver. So here's the simple thing. You could hold the door open for someone. I want to give you ideas. It's unrelated to money. When you hold the door open for someone, you're giving. When you send an encouraging message in an email or a text message, you're giving. When you smile at a stranger, you're giving. Again, opening a door for someone. Or I have a friend, Pat, in Florida, who always smiles at people and says thank you, and she greets everybody she meets. She does more spiritual work than a lot of people I know. So these are all important things. These simple acts ripple outward, creating waves of connection. So in the rush of life, Spirit will speak softly. It doesn't shout at you and doesn't demand attention. Instead, Spirit waits patiently for us to slow down, to pause, and to listen. So here's my third suggestion for you today. Take a quiet moment. I'm giving it for this day to use throughout the week. Take a moment each day to simply notice your breathing, just for a moment or two. Take that pause that we talk about so many weeks. You could take that pause and put your hand on your heart so you can even actually feel the rhythm of life within you. Notice the steadiness of your heartbeat, the unbroken connection you have with energy that animates all things. This connection is not something you achieve, but it's something we remember. So that could be a nice little exercise to take that pause, take those breaths, feel your heart, feel the unbroken connection you have to this energy that animates everything, everyone. This is connection. Again, you don't do anything to achieve it, but it is always something to remember. Living in harmony with Spirit is important. What does living with harmony actually look like? Living in harmony with the One. Well, first of all, it's not about chasing perfection. For those of us who are trying to do that, that's a trap. Living in harmony with Spirit is about embracing perspective. Harmony is found in little things. It's found in choosing kindness when it's easier to judge. Harmony is found by extending kindness, offering forgiveness when resentment feels sometimes justified. It's going the other way and offering the forgiveness. And it's in finding beauty in the ordinary things of life. It's in the way you respond to life's twists and turns, knowing that Spirit walks with you all the time through everything. Every encounter is a holy encounter. Living in harmony means we don't need everything to be perfect, to feel at peace. Living in harmony, we learn to live with the rhythm of life itself, trusting that even in chaos, there's a deeper order unfolding. We've been through a lot recently with the nation. And as a religious science practitioner, we say we know all is well, because it is. Our teaching will suggest that everything is in divine order. That being said, living in harmony doesn't mean you'll never have a bad day. It doesn't mean you're going to suddenly stop losing your keys, or that you won't be stuck in traffic, or you won't ever spill your coffee again on your favorite clothes, or that you'll never say the wrong thing at the wrong time again. What living in harmony does mean is that when any of these things happen, you're going to find it easier to pause, you're going to find it easier to take a breath, and you'll find it easier to chuckle or laugh at yourself. You'll remember that life is more about how you recover from these things, how well you bounce. Life is more about that than how to avoid mistakes. I learned from the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz years ago not to take anything personally, not to take everything personally. As a therapist, I used to say to my clients, don't personalize it. Please stop personalizing everything. So from the 4 Agreements, I learned not to take everything personally. I learned as a therapist in therapy and in facilitating so many groups, again, not to personalize everything that happens. Most of us who are serious about this teaching, about this practice, about living the affirmative life, are actively attempting to live it, to live the affirmative life. One thing that can be very helpful as life does life's things is to maintain a sense of humor and perspective. Humor will remind us not to take ourselves too seriously, because even in life's messiest moments, we can find joy when we're anchored in spirit. When we live in alignment with the one energy, when we're beginning to live the affirmative life, something beautiful starts to happen. What happens usually is our peace, the peace that we have within us, creates ripples, waves of ripples from us to our families, our friends. I want you to imagine this with me. You walk into a room that's full of tension, but instead of noticing all the tension and absorbing all that chaos, you yourself radiate calm. I'd like you to imagine yourself radiating calm today. I've told you in previous lessons, practitioners of this teaching have been described over the years as being somewhat unflappable. And the reason is they've done their inner work, most of them, the ones I really know well. It's tough to get them upset. They've done their inner work. I never suggest any one of us do it perfectly, but to the extent that any of us are doing it, to the extent that you're practicing and understanding that you're practicing the presence that's here, that's now, that's available in you and around you, when you walk into that room that has chaos, your presence absolutely changes the atmosphere in that room. People breathe easier, and because you brought peace with you. I know some of you on this call are like this. You've brought this consciousness into the space itself. This isn't just a nice idea, it's the reality of spiritual alignment. When you have this, your peace inspires peace in others. Often people can sense it. They can sense your love and your connection. They can sense your love and your connection with Source, and your connection becomes an invitation for others to love. The ripple effect of connection starts small. It starts within us. It starts within you. It's always beginning within you. Remember always that this connection you bring with you reaches farther than you could ever imagine. It helps more people than you could ever know. So ask yourself today, what might I change if I approached life with this sense of connection? If I refortified, if I recommitted myself to this teaching and knowing I'm connected with Source, what might change if I approached life with this great sense of connection? If I doubled down on it, if I partnered up with Spirit? It's a very good question to ask yourself throughout any day. What might change? if I approach life with greater connection. I've done these therapy groups for years, and the question the facilitators would always ask, are you coming from connection? That's a wonderful question to ask yourself several times a day. Because if you're not, then you can just, you can drop the storyline and just shift right back. And if you're in a story, which means if you're telling yourself some tall tale, or if you're in any state of upset, well, everybody in our gathering probably knows what to do. But if you're in a place like that, as soon as you find yourself there, stop. Stop in the name of love, as we say in different talks. Stop, and release the thought. Or as my old British lady friend Joyce would say, she would say, next. She would say it in a lovely British accent. Whenever she was caught up in a story, she would stop herself and say, next. Her name was Joyce. She would have another word she would use, which was cancel. And so you can ask yourself today also, what could shift in the way I see my relationships? What could shift in the way I view my work or my coworkers? What could shift if I started looking at my health in a different way? What if I started here and now to see myself in a much different way? What if I started today seeing myself in a much more loving way? Spirit doesn't ask perfection of any of us. It simply invites us to remember, to wake up to unity, to wake up to the realization I'm one with Source. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, and the glory is an old chant. We want to wake up to unity, to realize that we're ever connected with Spirit and with everyone else. We want to realize that it is always present. It's always a part of us. We want to realize it's everything and it's everywhere. And as we do this, we become living examples of harmony, connection, and peace in the world. So I have one more reflection. Let's take a moment to bring this in, to embody this truth, little guided process. You can close your eyes if you like. Imagine once again our golden thread, centering ourselves to everyone in this room, our collective room, our virtual room. And this thread connects you to everyone you love and to the infinite source of life itself. I'd like you to see this thread weaving through every person, through every moment of your day, everything that you can think of, and all of it reminding you that you are never, ever alone. Feel the beauty, feel the strength, the warmth of this light. Take in a deep breath and carry this truth with you. You are Spirit expressing as you. You are connected to all that is. Again, you are Spirit expressing as you. You are connected to all that is. As we prepare to close, let's once again turn inward and know that this light is within you, warm and radiant. Feel it expanding, touching everyone, knowing that you are deeply connected to Spirit, to life, and to the love that connects us all. So now I'd like to hear your thoughts. I'd like to hear what resonated with you today on the subject of connection, or anything else you'd like to talk about, actually. What insights came up? What questions came up as we explored the power of connection? So let's turn over the microphones and the cameras to all of you. I'm glad you're all here. Thank you for being a part of First Church. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. And so it is.